Hello, and welcome to the Divorced Dadvocate, divorce support for dads, where we help dads create a healthy and less traumatic divorce. My name is Jude Sandoval, and I'm your host. I created this podcast and the Divorced Advocate community as a result of my own high conflict divorce, and because you as a dad deserve all the resources necessary to thrive through this challenging time. I encourage you to check out our website at thedivorcedadvocate.com, where there are resources that correspond to this episode, as well as free access to our membership community, where you will find live meetings, free workshops and courses, private discussion groups, and more. And now, on to this week's episode. Hello, and welcome to the show. I am so pleased to have you here today. And I sincerely hope that you find some value in our topic today, which is 17 challenges and solutions of single parenting. And just a quick reminder, if you do find some value, I really would hope that you can give us a star rating or give us even one step further, which is a review. It helps us immensely on any one of the podcast platforms or YouTube if you're watching there, or also, if you can share this on your social media, it helps us immensely. Our growth has continued to improve, and we're coming in close here to the 3-year mark with somewhere almost to the 150. Let's see, that'd be 156. So getting there closely in another few more months, and it's only because of you, the listeners who have been sharing, and the community of parents that have come together to help each other out during this difficult and challenging time. So let's talk about this difficult and challenging time and 17 of those challenges with some solutions of single parenting. Now, obviously, like you've heard me talk about in the past, that we're not going to be able to go in real specific details about this, but that's definitely part of why we have the Divorced Advocate community built, to get into some group meetings together, individual coaching as well, so that we can deep dive in helping you to solve some of these challenges. We're going to give you some basic solutions around some of these 17 challenges today. And the first one, and I think probably the biggest challenge, especially in the beginning when you are first separated or divorced, is finding that work-life balance. Now, depending on which side you're on, you're either going to have to find a full-time job and work. That's just the way that it is going to be. Or if you're already working full-time, there's a high probability that you will need to be working more, or maybe even finding something in addition to the existing work that you have to supplement your existing income. So it's just the long and short of it is there's more work needed to afford to live. So what is the solution around finding this work-life balance? I would say probably the top one that I advise clients is to set boundaries and create clear goals at home and at work. So this works both ways. At work, that looks like setting those boundaries with just the fact that you only have specific work times because you have kids that you need to attend to. At home, that's also setting boundaries with the kiddos around what you can and what you can't do. As much as we want to be able to make everybody happy, there is going to be some adjustment to that work-life balance. Number 2, financial struggles. This is just a math problem. You take one household, split it into 2, and it's double the bills, and it is going to be much more expensive. So no matter what the situation, no matter what the child support situation looks like, the jobs look like, there is going to be less money and more bills. So you're going to just have to be frugal. We just have to find a way to be frugal oftentimes with the money that we do have, and look for extra earning opportunities, like I said in number 1. But just know that it's something that we all go through, and it is just going to be one of those adjustments that we have to make. Number 3, decision pressure. This is because of the fact that we're a family unit, we have the decision-making opportunity being shared. So we have somebody to bounce things off of. We have somebody to strategize with. We have somebody to support us when we're making the decisions. But when we are then on our own and we are a single parent, then we have to make all of those decisions ourselves. This obviously, and if you're in it, you already know this, can create an immense amount of stress. So what is a solution to decision pressure? I would say one of the top ones is don't make spur of the moment decisions. Do something like making a pros and cons list. And then the other thing that I found that is incredibly helpful is running things by other parents and talking with other parents about what they've got going on. Even if you just get involved with a parenting group or a meetup group, there's a ton of single parenting meetup groups. And if you're not familiar with Meetup's an online, just kind of a social networking platform. If you go to meetup.com and you can just put a keyword search of parenting or single parents or single and find all kinds of different meetup groups that are catering to whatever you might be interested in. But get involved with one that allows you the ability to just find other parenting friends. And we're going to talk about friendships a little bit later. Number 4, working parent guilt. So while we recognize that working hard and providing for our families and having an income and paying our bills is incredibly important, it comes with an immense amount of time spent without your kids. And so this was a particular one for me as well. It can lead to feelings of frustration and mostly, and for me, it was feelings of guilt. And so how do you mitigate that when you have no other choice but to have to work because you need to pay the bills and you need to be able to provide what you need to provide for your kiddos, but you do miss your kids. You do want to spend time with them. I don't know about you, but for me, having kids was one of the things I've always wanted to do and to be a father. And so having that be limited when I got a divorce was incredibly difficult for me. So, but on the flip side of that, one of the positives was it helped me to be very focused on the time that I was spending with my kids. So one of the things that you can do is you can set specific family quality time aside. So while you might not be able to do that during the week with work and school and pickups and dinner and everything that goes along with the work week and the school week, try to find some time. And maybe it's just even if you have to work extra on the weekends, maybe it's just one day. Maybe you take one day a week, or maybe 1 or 2 days in a month to just set that time aside and do something very specific. And then the other thing is to make that very consistent with the kiddos. Find something that you can do that can be consistent, or find an activity that you can do and find the time to do it on a consistent basis. So maybe that looks like you go and do a picnic at the park every Sunday for 2 or 3 hours. Or maybe every other Sunday, depending on what your schedule is. But just do your best to try to set some specific family quality time. You may think it's got to be an immense amount of time, but it doesn't, because it's the quality over the quantity.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Jude with a quick reminder about the Divorced Advocate Foundation for Fathers, which is our nonprofit that helps dads through divorce with legal education, free or reduced cost coaching, and mental health resources. If you own a business or know someone who does, there's an easy way to help by connecting credit card processing through our partner program. Part of the fees go straight to the foundation with no added cost to the business, and 98% of businesses are actually able to save money on their processing fees. It's a win-win. So if you know a business that accepts credit cards, get them in touch with me by sending a warm introduction email to jude@thedivorcedadvocate.com, or give me a call directly at 720-255-1021. Number 5, emotional overload. Excuse me. Excuse me. So I don't have to tell you, if you're listening, that a divorce is emotionally taxing, and single parenting is most definitely an emotional task. And doing it alone can amplify these emotions as well. So, you're going to be wading through, and you probably are already wading through a lot of emotional ups and emotional downs. So one of the things you've heard me talk about many times in the show before is finding the time for your self-care. And you're going to hear me with several of these solutions to these challenges being self-care. Now, specifically on emotional overload, one of the things you can do is you can practice some meditation, some mindfulness meditation, and learning to be present. Because if you're able to take that emotional stability and prepare for when you're going to have ups and downs when you're going through the single parenting, then that's going to go a long way in you being able to keep an even keel around this stuff. Another thing you can do, which was part of what I just said in the previous one, is talk to close friends or family, and or if you have the means, find a therapist or a coach to talk about this stuff. It helps immensely to be able to talk through this stuff. And now for guys listening, this might be a difficult and challenging one. Learn to do that. Learn to talk about things, talk about your feelings and emotions, and get those out. So emotional overload is definitely a big one. You're probably experiencing it now. To those that are going through it right now, don't be scared. It gets better. The emotions might be all over the place right now, but if you implement some of these skills and work on some of these skills, it can get to the point really even where you feel like, wow, anything, I can take on anything now. I've been through divorce. I've been a single parent for however long. I can deal with anything that will come my way because I'm mentally and emotionally stable. I've got the skills and tools to be able to get through anything. Number 6, limited me time. Well, you're probably already experiencing this. You probably already experienced this once you had kids, right? So even in a two-parent household, when you have kids with work and running errands and chores and paying bills and the kids' extracurricular activities and their school and everything else, it is incredibly challenging to get things done, let alone having your own time. So you have to I talked about self-care, number 5. You have to make the time for self-care. You have to make the time for me time. And that means scheduling this and blocking it out. Now, maybe that means you're getting a babysitter. Maybe that means that you're asking somebody, a friend or a family member, for help in watching the kids. Now, this doesn't have to be for a week, or it doesn't have to be for days. It can be just for an hour or 2 hours. There's even drop-in daycares. We don't have to sign up for daycare, that you can just bring them in for an hour or 2 hours and simply go and do something that you need for yourself. Whether that's a workout, the gyms, most gyms, as far as I've seen lately, have some sort of daycare option there. So that can just be an hour or 2 hours that you're there getting a sweat and working out, or it might be going to the salon. It could be whatever you need to do for your self-care, but make sure that you are doing it. And the self-care can be a form of well, we're going to talk about that a little bit down the road here in some of these next ones. Number 7, overwhelming fatigue. So we've got all this emotional overload. We've got financial struggles. We got decision pressure, some of the ones we talked about. Parenting is like running a marathon. It's rewarding, but it is absolutely positively exhausting. And you're not going to have a co-parent to be doing this with now. So everything is going to fall on your shoulders, and you're going to have to find a way to handle all of these tasks. So what I was alluding to in the previous one, you need to take care of yourself, and you need to take care of what I call the 4 pillars, which is taking care of your mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual self. So make sure you're getting enough sleep. make sure you're getting enough exercise, make sure you're eating right, make sure you're meditating, make sure that you're taking care of your spiritual needs, whatever that means to you, whether it's an organized religion or it's nature or it's something else. You need to make sure to schedule, like I said in number 6, schedule this time. This is all self-care, taking care of yourself. So make sure to do it, because if you don't, you are going to get fatigued and you're going to get overwhelmed, and then you're literally not going to be able to help your kiddos at all. Because if you allow yourself to get overwhelmingly fatigued, and then what happens is your body is going to start manifesting sickness, disease, and forcing you to stop and pay attention to yourself and pay attention to what you've got going on. And you'll be forced then to create the me time and deal with the emotional overload and deal with the work-life balance and all of that. So don't let it get to that point. Don't get yourself more overwhelmingly fatigued. Take that time. And this might be counterintuitive to a lot of you listening, because we've never done this. And I know that was for me, right? And then I tried to be Superman's single dad, super dad, and got myself overwhelmingly fatigued and burnt out. And it makes things worse. So take the time to take care of yourself. Number 8, opposing parenting strategies and techniques. So you might find that all of a sudden now, once you're divorced, that your ex's parenting style or parenting philosophies or techniques or strategies or whatever they're calling it are different than yours. I know I did. We had parented our children in Love and Logic, which is, for those of you who aren't aware of it, is one of the most amazing parenting philosophies, I would say, that is out there, and was a godsend to being able to mitigate being a single parent. Love and Logic, and you can find their information at loveandlogic.com, or you can just Google Love and Logic. But what you can do to deal with the opposing parenting strategies is, firstly, you want to try to discuss these issues with your ex-partner and try to come to a consensus and agreement on how you are going to parent, the strategies and techniques you are going to utilize, and how to implement them. But oftentimes you have a parent that just is not cooperative, that does not want to work together with that. And that's the difference between co-parenting and parallel parenting. And if you're not familiar with what that is, look back in one of our previous episodes, one of my previous episodes about the difference between parallel parenting and co-parenting. And we've had some experts on, I think, Dr. Carrie Stutzman, who is a licensed family therapist, was on and talked about that as well. So there's some good information in some of the previous episodes. Number 9, difficult holidays and vacations. For those of you just tuning in and listening, a reminder, we're talking about the 17 challenges and solutions of single parenting. Going on holiday as a single parent is basically managed chaos. Okay, that's the best way that I can describe it. And from having done this now with kiddos from when we got divorced, 6, 4, and 2, all the way now until teenagers, that it is just one, and I have 3, so it's just one parent and many kids, or even if you just have one kid, it's still a lot of it's just a lot. Planning it, executing it, being on vacation. It's just, if you're flying these days, it's just a lot, right? It's a lot that goes into it. It's a lot just having family vacations, let alone doing it as a single parent. So the best thing I can say is you're going on vacation to just have fun and relax. Try to keep that mindset, keep a lighthearted approach to the holidays or to the vacations. These are 2 distinct ones too, right? Holidays and vacations. Like, holidays aren't necessarily vacation because you might have family and you're dealing with family. So that's a challenge. But I'm really talking more here about vacations, just the difficulty in executing vacations. But don't ignore it, because you might think, oh, I just can't do this. But I can tell you, even the most imperfect, or not even so much imperfect holiday or vacations that we had, but just kind of simple vacations. We camp a lot, and we have camped since they were little a lot. Some of our best memories come from some of those simple camping trips at places where I was like, I didn't really even think this was going to be that much fun, but we have some of the best memories. So that has been great. So don't avoid it. The other thing is, if you do have the means, try to do something that might be more all-inclusive, where there's some stuff already prepared, or they have a lot of family stuff in place, or activities, that there's a lot of safety and security that includes childcare. I remember one time I did take my daughters on a cruise, and we had that, everything was just all there, and they had a kids club, and man, they just loved it. I just was amazed, and it was just a really fun, a good vacation. So don't avoid it. Don't be afraid of it. It's definitely going to be different than traveling together with a spouse, because you have somebody to divide and conquer, or to manage the divide and conquer philosophy of the kiddos. So do the vacations, even if it's something simple like an overnight camping trip. Anyway, you get the point. Number 10, challenge: dating or meeting new people. Okay, so we talked about all of what's going on, the financial stress, decision pressures, emotional overload, fatigue, difficult challenges. So, it's not just all of those things that are going to make dating difficult, but it's also going to be the fact that you might be out of practice. And depending on how long you were married, I know that for me, it was a completely different world from the time that I got married to the time that I started dating again. And so that's okay. It's just going to be different. But here's a couple of things that helped, was for to be very intentional in what you were going to do. Take things really slowly. You have a limited amount of time, so you want to use it very, very wisely. So what does that look like? That might mean, hey, I'm just going to look for some like coffee dates right now, or maybe some lunches, or maybe that meetup.com, where I'm going to go and maybe find a group, a dating group or a singles group, where you can find a date to do that and start meeting new people. The other part of this is share what you're doing with your kiddos. You might feel like you're abandoning them. You might feel like by taking time for yourself, that's taking away from them. You need to be doing this for yourself. We are wired to be in relation with other people. So meeting new people and or dating is incredibly important for us. But don't surprise the kids. Just let them know that you're going out to meet some friends, or you're going out to do an activity, or if you're going out on a date, that you're going out on a date. For me, when my daughters were a little bit older, which they are now, it gives me an opportunity to share with them what I'm doing, so that I can model for them what I feel is the appropriate way in which to go about dating. Now, that would have been enough. And so this goes to my point, where you hear me talk about in many of the other shows, which is, this is an opportunity that you would never have otherwise had if you didn't get a divorce, because you wouldn't be dating. You're married, right, already. So this is an opportunity for me to really model for my daughters what it is supposed to be like in a healthy dating situation. So I tried to share, obviously, to whatever age appropriate level was appropriate, the dating process and what I was doing. So share with them and let them know, because number one, you don't want to keep secrets. Number two, they're going to figure it out. So the kids are intuitive. So just share, be open, and communicate. Number 11, handling of psychological and emotional issues of the children. So this carries over a little bit from the communicating and don't surprise the children. But look, you've probably already experienced that the kiddos are going to have some psychological and emotional issues and challenges. We're having them, right? So we can't expect them not to have them as well. And as much as we don't want them to have it, and we want to shelter them from it, this is the reality of divorce, is that they're going to have some issues to work through. So the top thing is to make sure to talk to your children, to communicate. They are going through their own issues. And when you do that, part of what is a very big challenge is just separating your emotions from what they're going through. We might have shame, we might have guilt around what's going on. We might be angry with the ex-parent, whatever it might be. We need to separate our emotions and just allow a space for them to be able to talk and to share. And we implemented something, and I just re-implemented this lately, which was a feelings check-in. We just would share one night a week. It was usually around dinner time. Right now it's like Sunday lunch. That feelings, how we're feeling that week, and if there's any big feelings or particular feelings that we want to share and we want to talk about, we would check in. So I found that gave it a good opportunity, not only to hear what my kiddos had to say, but also for me to share what I was feeling about what's going on with the family and the situation. So, and then obviously also, if you do have the means, find a family therapist or a counselor, or get them involved in something that allows them to talk with somebody who's a third party that's not you, not your ex, and also has some training and some skills around it. And on that note, we're not scared. We are not trained therapists or counselors. And so just have some grace with yourself. Just communicating, just being there and loving them and listening to them is going to go a long, long way. We're not going to probably be able to solve all of the problems or any of the problems maybe that they're dealing with, but being there and listening is going to be just the top thing that you can possibly do. And it's going to go a long way in helping them. Okay, number 12, challenge and solution of single parenting, unsettled living arrangements. Now, this could mean that this means that your kids are now going to have a different living arrangement. So again, it was one house. It's now separated in two houses. And now you have only control over your one half of those living arrangements. So you're going to find that might be a little bit challenging in the sense that they're going to have a completely different environment when they're away from you than when they're with you. And so that's okay. That's not necessarily a bad thing. If you can, the solution to this is to try to talk with and come to agreement with your ex about some shared values around the living arrangements and schooling. What they're eating, how they're eating, when they're going to bed, just things like that. Excuse me. But excuse me. If you're unable to do that, this comes back to that co-parenting versus parallel parenting thing, where then you need to create the environment that you find is going to be the best for your kiddos. You need to create a loving, supportive, uplifting environment for the kids that's safe for them, that's secure, that's structured. And in doing that, regardless of the environment that they're going to with your ex, they're going to have that place. They know that they're going to have that place at your home and in your living arrangements all the time. So do everything that you can to create this. And the Love and Logic that I mentioned earlier has lots of great ideas around how to do that in a way, in helping kids to transition back to your homes and creating safe places for them to be able to open up and share. So those and some of those things are some of the stuff that we talk about in private sessions, which is how to do that with the kiddos, how to help them through that process, how to create that space, some ways in which you can include them in it as well. So just know that it's okay to have the different ones, and actually it can actually work in to their benefit to see a positive environment versus one that might not be as positive as it could be. Number 13, stress management. Prepare to be stressed. It's unavoidable. Parenting is stressful. Single parenting is more stressful, and divorce and going through all of it is stressful as well. This goes back to what you can do about it, which is take care of yourself. Get some de-stressing techniques, maybe it's meditation, yoga, exercise, eating right. It's all about self-care. But if you don't manage the stress, it is a killer. It is going to wear you down. Like I talked about with the fatigue, it's going to wear you down, and then it's going to be creating much bigger problems in your life through sickness and illness and accidents and other things that are going to force you to slow down. So don't be forced to slow down. Manage the stress prior to getting to that point. Number 14, parental guilt. Yes, you are going to feel guilty. I mean, this is just juggling everything that needs to be done on top of always having no time. You're going to feel guilty. I know for me, it felt just like I'd pick up the kids after work. We'd literally have dinner, take baths, go to bed, wake up, go to school, go to work, do the same thing. Felt like there was just no quality time with them. It did not feel like, it definitely wasn't the family environment that I had envisioned or that I had created. And so for me, that brought up a ton of shame and guilt. Now, the difference between shame and guilt is shame feels like you are a bad person. Guilt is feeling bad about the situation or something that you've done. So, and those are different, and there's a big difference between them. So, talk with your therapist, talk with your coach, your counselor, whomever, about those. But you're going to have that parental guilt that's going on. So, here's a question to ask yourself: could you be realistic? Be realistic about your guilt, right? And ask yourself, could you have really provided a healthy and happy life to your children if you had stayed with your ex? And the answer is probably not, right? Because there's a reason that you've broken up. So don't overload yourself with unrealistic and unnecessary guilt. And the best way is, again, to talk to a therapist or a coach or a counselor. If you don't have the means to do that, talk with a friend or family member. Just know that a friend or family member does have a vested interest in what they have, in the advice that they have, and what they're saying. Find a support group. Maybe it's a church group. Maybe it's one like I talked about on Meetup. But get the reassurance that you need, and that will help you to mitigate some of that parental guilt. Number 15, heartbreak and a sense of loss. Prepare to feel a sense of loss. You're not going to have a co-parent now, or just another person that you're in relationship that you're going to be able to help deal with some of this heartbreak, or celebrate some of the victories with. So that just sometimes leads to a sense of loss or loneliness. And I know that's a big one, especially for the men listening, because we tend to self-isolate and then we get really lonely, and then we feel isolated and disconnected from the world. And that is it's the worst thing that we can do. So the solution is surround yourself with other people, and surround yourself with loving and caring people. But even if it isn't that deep of a relationship, or maybe you don't have that right now with the circumstance, oftentimes you're in a different place or a different city, and you don't have family members around, and maybe you have limited friends, but the friends were friends of the marriage, and it often happens that they go away or just become scarce when you're going through the divorce. And so you might not have. Simply start with maybe finding a group to just do something with once a week or every so often, like I mentioned on that meetup. Find something that you like to do, something that you can be with other people, and then build from there. If you can build those relations and you can get back in relation with people, then that's going to help. We are wired. We are just designed to be in relation with people. We need other people as much as the message from society is that we can do it on our own. We can't. We need to be in relation, and you need to be able to surround yourself with other people, hopefully loving and caring people. But if you don't have that, start building those relationships through some sort of activity or support group. Number 16, social isolation. And this is just the next part of that, which is you're going to be very busy. And so in being very busy, your days, and I'm sure I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but and I know mine is, you could be planned literally minute to minute. I know last week we were literally to the minute getting my daughters to their to one performance, and then driving to another one, and literally sitting down as the other one started, and then leaving there, and then driving back to the other one, and then getting there just as the other one. It was just seriously down to the minute. And so your plate is going to be very, very full. You're going to have limited social life. Schedule that time to see friends or to make friends or to do something social. Here's one little tip that might help: make friends with your kids' friends' parents. That makes it easy, where you can do play dates or meet at the park or do stuff, or even ask them to watch your kiddo when you need to go just have that those few hours, an hour or 2 hours alone to do whatever it might be, a workout, and you can trade that. I know that we had a good friend when we were living after the divorce, at a place that she lived next door, and we were able to do that for each other, where I'd watch her kids and she'd be able to have a few hours to do something, and she would do the same thing for me. So it was immensely helpful to be able to have that, and it will go a long way in helping you. So do not isolate socially. And the final challenge and solution of single parenting is the difficulty in maintaining discipline in the home. So as they continue to get older, well, not even as they continue to get older, but even from the time that you can't, I think they talk about like 15 months is with the Love and Logic is when you can start with this Love and Logic philosophy. But it takes an immense amount of consistency to discipline your kiddos. And again, you don't have your partner there anymore to lift you up, support you, to bounce things off of, etc. So you're doing this all by yourself. So just be clear and firm with the children regarding your discipline and the rules. And the biggest thing, which is the way of life and the values that you want to have in your household. And if you can, find a parenting philosophy like Love and Logic that you can utilize. This is literally like a manual for how to raise your kids and have positive, loving interactions with them that help them to learn and understand their choices in life and how to move forward and how to do that in a loving way. So difficulties in maintaining discipline, but you've got to do it and you've got to be consistent with it. All right, those are our 17 challenges and solutions of single parenting. Again, they are not all inclusive because I can't go into real specific detail on this, but get involved with the community, show up for one of our group meetings, check us out on Facebook or LinkedIn. Please, if you found some value today, leave us a star rating, or even better, leave us a comment on the show on any one of the podcast platforms you're listening. That helps us. Or share it. Do all of those things and share it on Facebook or LinkedIn and help us spread the word. Thank you so much for listening this week. God bless, and I'll talk to you next week. To hear the rest of this episode and access the corresponding resources, visit thedivorcedadvocate.com and become a member of our community. It's free to join and will provide you with the resources you deserve as a divorced or divorcing dad. Thank you for listening. God bless, and I'll talk with you next week.